Is Metal Sonic actually the real Sonic? There's been a fan theory floating around for a long time now that Metal Sonic is actually Sonic himself from another timeline, specifically the Bad Future from Sonic CD, where Eggman won and made an entire miniature planetoid into a giant robot factory. Canonically, Sonic prevents that feature from happening thanks to time travel, but we never actually get to see Sonic in the Bad Future. Except, maybe we did, as Sonic CD was also the debut of Metal Sonic, Sonic's new rival that is also one of a select few who can match Sonic's speed, often considered Eggman's most brilliant invention. So, the theory goes that Metal Sonic is actually the Sonic of the Bad Future, before Eggman defeated him and turned him into a servant just like he had with all the other animals, before his past self was alerted thanks to Eggman's time traveling and stopped that future from happening. But what's the evidence? Well, quite a bit actually. Firstly, let's look at Sonic Heroes. In this game, Metal betrays Eggman and gathers data on the heroes, using said data to transform into his Neo form. In this form, he's able to canonically speak for the first time, as he repeatedly claims to be, quote-unquote, the real Sonic, claiming that the Sonic we know is the real figure. Obviously, most players just brush this off at the time, but the evidence continues to mount. From Sonic the Lost World, where Eggman tried to roboticize Sonic, proving that such an act is actually possible, to Sonic Forces, where Sonic rightly questions why Eggman doesn't simply make more Metal Sonics.
Why would they bother making a fake out of something that already isn't real? Couldn't they just build more?
As there is only Badnik to continually prove a challenge for him, there have been constant tiny hints towards the idea that Metal Sonic is the original Sonic. What's more, we have evidence that, just because this timeline ceases to exist in the Sonic universe, doesn't mean that the characters from that timeline cease along with it. Silver and Blaze are perfect examples of this, as they both retain their memories of their bad future during the events of Sonic 06, despite the editing of that game essentially making that game's events cease to exist, with Shadow even being confirmed to have forgotten all about that game's events. Oh, also, there's one other piece of evidence I have never heard people mention. No matter what timeline you fight Metal Sonic during Sonic CD, good or bad, it will always play the Bad Future variant of Stardust Speedway for the race against him, which has resulted in that theme essentially becoming Metal Sonic's theme song used throughout every single appearance in future games with the sole exception of Sonic Heroes. But what if the reason for this musical choice was because the Bad Future Stardust Speedway is where this specific version of Sonic met his untimely demise, where his journey in his timeline came to an end, hence why it's also where he and Sonic have their final showdown in this zone. Ultimately, we may never know the truth. Perhaps Sega will save this as some big reveal down the line, or perhaps we'll debunk it later. Only time will tell. And for those of you who have tried to debunk this by asking why Metal Sonic will try to kill Sonic and kidnap Amy, you have to remember that he isn't really Sonic anymore. He's a robot, fully under Eggman's control. And while he may be Sonic underneath, he's not in control anymore. It's the code that Eggman has written. But that just leaves the question,